Love has no borders, no limits, and no guarantees. But sometimes, love is not destroyed by strangers. It's broken by the people we trust the most, the ones we call family. In the glittering chaos of New Delhi, beneath the colors and noise, a storm was brewing. Behind the smiles they showed on 90 Day Fiancé, the cameras missed the tears, the silence, and the accusations that would change their lives forever. Jenny Slatin and her husband Sumit Singh had been struggling with family conflicts for a long time. Due to the family feud, Sumit Singh's mother made false accusations, claiming that Jenny Slatin was misbehaving and had assaulted her mother-in-law in Sumit Singh's absence. Angry, Sumit Singh's mother clearly told him, "Sumit Singh, if you don't divorce your wife Jenny Slatin, you are no longer my son. I can't accept you as my child anymore." After hearing such harsh words from his mother, Sumit Singh was devastated. He realized that the only way to escape the constant turmoil in the family was to leave everything behind. In the end, Jenny Slatin and Sumit Singh made a tough decision. They sold all their property, including their house, for $2 million. After the sale, they decided to permanently leave India and move to Canada. They also announced that they would no longer be part of the 90 Day Fiancé show, or TLC. Thus, Sumit Singh sold all their possessions and, with his wife Jenny Slatin, embarked on a new life in Canada. This is not a story of television drama. It's a story of human pain, of love's final test, and of two people who chose peace over everything else. Tonight, we tell you the untold truth, the final chapter of Jenny Slatin and Sumit Singh. At first, everything seemed perfect. After years of battling judgment and rejection, Jenny and Sumit had finally built the peaceful life they always wanted. Their cozy Noida home was filled with laughter, sunlight, and the aroma of morning chai. Jenny watered the balcony plants while Sumit smiled at sweet fan comments online. Someone said we're their favorite couple. Jenny laughed. "See? People understand us now," Sumit replied, grinning. For a time, love conquered everything. Secrets, lies, even shame. They had earned their happiness, but peace can be fragile. Sumit's mother, Sana Singh, still refused to accept Jenny. Her disapproval never truly disappeared, only quieted. Soon, it returned in whispers and rumors. Relatives began avoiding calls. Gossip filled the family chat. One evening, Sumit's cousin phoned in panic. "Bye. Auntie is saying Jenny disrespected her, even hit her." Jenny froze. That's not true. But rumors spread faster than truth. Within days, the family turned cold. She changed him. She controls him. He never visits home anymore. Sumit was torn between two worlds, his love for Jenny and his duty to his mother. Then one message changed everything. "I want to see you. Come home alone." Jenny's eyes filled with worry. "Don't go if she'll hurt you again." "I have to," he whispered. "She's still my mother." As Sumit walked away, Jenny watched from the doorway, unaware that this visit would test the very heart of their love. Every love story begins with trust, but sometimes trust isn't broken by betrayal. It's tested by blood. Love can be a rebellion, a quiet defiance against a world that refuses to understand. But even the strongest hearts falter when standing before the people who raised them. Sumit stood at the doorway of his childhood home, the same one he'd once entered as a hopeful boy, now as a man torn between love and loyalty. His mother, Sana Singh, sat rigidly on the sofa, her eyes sharp with judgment. His father silently read the newspaper, pretending not to see. "Sit," Sana ordered. He obeyed. "I've heard what people are saying," she began bitterly. "My son married a woman older than me, and now she insults me in my own home." "Mom, that's not true," Sumit protested. "Jenny would never." "Don't defend her," Sana snapped. "Rohini saw everything." "Rohini wasn't even there," he said helplessly. Her voice broke into anger and tears. "You've shamed this family." The neighbors whisper, the relatives laugh. "And you call me a liar?" "Mom," he pleaded, "Jenny respects you. She's tried so hard to fit in. Then she should stay away from me." Sana shot back. Silence filled the room. Meanwhile, at home, Jenny sat by the window, heart pounding. She tried everything, learning the language, cooking Indian food, respecting every tradition. Yet nothing was enough. "Why does she hate me so much?" she whispered. Back at the house, Sumit's voice trembled. "Please, stop spreading lies. You're hurting us." "Us," Sana said coldly. "There is no us anymore. If you don't divorce her, you're no longer my son." Her words shattered the air. Sumit rose slowly. "Then maybe I don't belong here anymore. I love you, Ma, but I can't destroy the woman who's only ever loved me." "Sumit Singh," she cried. "If you leave, don't come back." He walked out, the door slamming behind him, the sound of a family breaking. When he finally returned home, Jenny ran to him. "What happened?" He could barely speak. She said, "I'm no longer her son." Jenny's heart sank. "Oh, Sumit, she'll never forgive us," he whispered. Jenny held his face. "Then maybe it's time to leave. We can't win this war." Thunder rumbled outside as they sat in silence, holding hands, realizing the truth. Love had survived everything, but family was tearing it apart. By dawn, the rumors had become wildfire. A Facebook post accused Jenny of hitting her mother-in-law. Soon, it was everywhere. Headlines, gossip groups, angry comments. Jenny's hands shook as she read, "They're destroying me. They don't care about truth," Sumit said bitterly. "They only want drama." When they stepped outside, neighbors whispered, "That's them, the 90-day couple, the American woman who hit her mother-in-law." At their door, a note waited. "Foreigners bring shame, not love. Leave before it's too late." Tears welled in Jenny's eyes. "I can't live like this." Sumit clenched his fists. "I'll make her stop." "She'll never stop," Jenny said. "I'll face her myself." At Sana's house, Jenny stood tall. "Why are you doing this? I've never disrespected you." "You disrespected our culture the day you married my son," Sana said coldly. "I love him. Isn't that enough?" Jenny cried. "Love doesn't erase shame," Sana hissed. "Better my pride than my blood," and she slammed the door. Jenny walked away alone under the streetlights, broken but unbowed. That night, everything changed. Words had become weapons. Rumors had become truth. And a love once celebrated now stood condemned. Jenny and Sumit had conquered the world to be together. But this time, their greatest fight was not for love. It was for survival. When lies are told with conviction, the truth becomes invisible. What began as whispers had now turned into headlines. And for Jenny Slatten, every word cut deeper than the last. The next morning, Sumit sat at the dining table surrounded by open newspapers and his buzzing phone. The articles were everywhere, on social media, in entertainment blogs, even local news portals that once praised their love story. Jenny walked in slowly, clutching a mug of tea she hadn't touched. "Sumit," she said softly, "are they still talking about it?" He sighed heavily. "Everywhere. They're even saying the police might investigate." Jenny froze. "Investigate? For what? We didn't do anything." "I know," he said, frustration tightening his voice. "But someone filed a complaint anonymously." Jenny's eyes widened in disbelief. "A complaint? Who would?" She stopped. They both knew the answer. Sumit nodded grimly. "It has to be Ma. No one else would go that far. In India, even a rumor can open a case. And in a culture where family honor outweighs evidence, the truth often becomes the first casualty." The report claimed that Jenny had verbally and physically assaulted her mother-in-law during an argument. It even included witness statements, neighbors who swore they heard screaming. None of it was true, but it didn't matter. The damage was done. Jenny finally spoke, her voice shaking. "She's really trying to ruin me. Sumit, this isn't just gossip anymore. This could destroy our lives." Sumit ran his hands through his hair, pacing. "I'll handle it. I'll go to the station, explain everything." Jenny looked at him, tears brimming. "And what will you tell them? That your own mother is lying?" He didn't answer. His silence said everything. Jenny stood up, trembling with emotion. "She's your mother, Sumit. I understand that. But what about me? What about us? You can't keep letting her do this. Sumit turned to her, his eyes pained. Do you think this is easy for me? I'm trying to protect both of you. Protect me? Jenny cried. By doing nothing? Her voice cracked as she stepped closer. I've spent years proving myself. To her, to your family, to this whole country. And still, they see me as a villain. Sumit's shoulders slumped. He wanted to speak, but no words came. For the first time in a long time, Jenny walked away from him. Not out of anger, but exhaustion. Rohit's voice was urgent. Bye. Things are getting out of control. Ma's video is going viral. She's giving interviews now, saying she was humiliated and attacked. Sumit's jaw clenched. Interviews? What interviews? Rohit sighed. A local YouTube channel came to the house. She told them you've changed, that you're under Jenny's control. It's getting thousands of views. Sumit leaned against the wall, the phone shaking in his hand. She's destroying us publicly, Rohit. This isn't family anymore. This is revenge. I don't hate my son, Sana said tearfully to the reporter. But he's forgotten who he is. That woman from America changed him. She doesn't respect our culture, our traditions, or me as his mother. I only want my son back. The reporter nodded solemnly, clearly sympathetic. Jenny's hands trembled as she turned off the video. She's playing the victim now, she whispered, and everyone believes her. Sumit sat beside her quietly. Let them talk. The truth will come out. Jenny looked at him, broken. When, Sumit? When it's too late? There comes a point in every battle where silence speaks louder than words. For Jenny, the silence meant defeat. For Sumit, it meant guilt. Neither of them knew how to win anymore. Jenny spoke softly, almost to herself. I think your mother wants me gone. Not just from your life, but from this country. Sumit looked up, his eyes filled with sorrow. Maybe that's what she wants, but she'll never get it. Jenny shook her head. She already has, Sumit. She's taken everything. Our peace, our reputation, our happiness. Sumit reached for her hand. We'll get through this, Jenny. She looked at him for a long moment. And if we don't? He hesitated, the question hanging in the air like a blade. Jenny pulled her hand away slowly. Maybe it's time to think about leaving. Sumit froze. Leaving India? Jenny nodded, her voice barely a whisper. Yes, maybe we start over somewhere they don't know us. Somewhere we're not judged every day. He didn't reply, but for the first time, he didn't reject the idea either. Jenny stands behind him, silent, watching. The thought that once seemed impossible had now become their only hope. When home becomes the battlefield, love must find a new country to survive. But leaving India would mean leaving everything. Family, memories, their identity. For Sumit, it was unthinkable. For Jenny, it was necessary. And soon, they would have to make the choice that would change their lives forever. Sometimes, the loudest lies push you toward the quietest truth. That peace is not a place you're born in, but a place you choose to build. Every love story has a moment where silence becomes the loudest scream. For Jenny and Sumit, that moment had arrived. Sumit hung up the phone slowly and turned toward Jenny. That was the police, he said quietly. They're sending someone tomorrow, just to ask a few questions. Jenny looked up, eyes wide. Ask questions? About what? I didn't do anything. I know, he said quickly, trying to calm her. They just need to hear our side. It's procedure. Jenny's voice cracked. Procedure for a crime that never happened. Sumit, this is insane. Sumit took a deep breath and sat beside her. I'll handle it. You just tell them the truth. That's all we can do. Jenny stared at the floor, her voice faint. I'm scared, Sumit. Not because of the police, but because of your mother. She won't stop until I'm gone. Sumit reached for her hand, but she pulled away. Jenny. No, listen to me. Her tone was firm now. I've stayed quiet for too long. I've tried to be kind. I've tried to fit in. But your mother has crossed every line. I can't live like this anymore. Mrs. Slatton, one of them asked. Jenny nodded nervously. Yes, that's me. We're here regarding a complaint filed by Mrs. Sana Singh. The officer continued. It alleges verbal and physical abuse. We'd like to ask a few questions. Sumit quickly stepped forward. Sir, those accusations are false. My wife has never hurt anyone. The officer nodded. We understand, Mr. Singh. We just need both statements for the record. Jenny sat down across from them, trying to hold back tears. Her voice trembled as she explained everything. How she and her mother-in-law had arguments, yes, but never violence. How she had always shown respect, even when it wasn't returned. The officers listened quietly, took notes, and finally stood. Thank you for your time, one of them said gently. We'll close this as a civil family dispute for now. When they left, Jenny burst into tears. Sumit wrapped his arms around her. It's over, Jenny. It's okay now. But Jenny shook her head. No, it's not. She won't stop. She's already ruined our reputation. And now she's involving the police. What's next? Sumit didn't answer. Outside, neighbors peeped through curtains as the officers walked away from their house. Within minutes, the whispers began again. Why, Ma? Sumit said, his voice trembling with anger. Why would you do this? Why would you file a false report? Sana looked up calmly. Because I'm saving you, Sumit. From her. Saving me? You humiliated me. You called the police on my wife. Sana slammed her cup down. That woman isn't your wife in my eyes. She's the reason you've turned against your family. You used to be a good son. Now look at you, defending a stranger against your own blood. She's not a stranger, Sumit shouted. She's my wife. She's my life. Sana's voice rose to match his. Then leave. Go live your life with her. Don't ever come back here again. Sumit's father tried to intervene, his tone weary. Enough, both of you. This has gone too far. But it was too late. The words had already pierced deeper than any wound. Sumit pointed toward the door. Fine, Ma. If that's what you want, I'll go. But you'll regret it when you realize all you've done is destroy your own family. As he turned to leave, Sana's final words echoed through the room like thunder. Go then, Sumit Singh. From this moment, you're no longer my son. There are moments in life when love asks for everything, even the ties that once defined you. For Sumit, that moment meant choosing between his mother's love and his wife's truth. And for the first time, he realized he couldn't have both. When Sumit entered the house, Jenny ran to him. Where were you? I was so worried. He looked at her, exhausted. It's done. She said I'm no longer her son. Jenny froze. Oh, Sumit. He sat down heavily. I thought I could fix it, but I can't. She'll never change. Jenny knelt beside him, holding his hand. Then maybe it's time we change everything else. Sumit looked at her, confused. What do you mean? She took a deep breath. Let's sell the house, the cafe, everything. We leave India for good. You said you wanted peace. Maybe this is how we find it. Sumit stared at her in silence. The words felt unreal, but a strange calm washed over him. Leaving India meant losing family, friends, everything familiar. But staying meant losing Jenny, and perhaps himself. He closed his eyes and whispered, okay. Jenny looked at him, tears in her eyes. You mean it? He nodded slowly. I mean it. When love is tested, it doesn't always end in victory. Sometimes it ends in surrender, not to defeat, but to peace. That night, Jenny and Sumit made the hardest decision of their lives. To sell everything they had built in India. To leave behind pain, judgment, and broken family ties. And to begin again, far away from the noise, the rumors, and the shadows of the past. Every ending begins quietly. In that silence, two souls found the courage to start again. Secrets always find the light, and for Jenny and Sumit, that light was merciless. Their private plan to sell everything and start fresh had somehow leaked overnight. Jenny's eyes widened as she scrolled through an article. Sumit? How did they find out? He read over her shoulder, disbelief turning to anger. The report quoted an anonymous family source, claiming the couple was fleeing India to escape consequences. Sumit slammed the laptop shut. It's Ma. Who else would leak this? Jenny's voice shook. She's still trying to destroy us. What if people come here? He placed a hand on her shoulder. Let them talk. We're not running away. We're moving forward. But even as he said it, Jenny saw the exhaustion in his eyes. Outside, neighbors whispered. They think they can just leave after what they did. I heard she hit his mother. Now they're running to Canada. Jenny peered through the window, pale and trembling. They're outside again. Ignore them, Sumit said, jaw tight. They think they know the truth, she whispered, and that's enough to ruin us. Later that day, their agent arrived. So, you're sure about selling? The market's good, but once word spreads... Jenny interrupted softly. It already has. The agent nodded. Your property could fetch $2 million US, maybe more with the cafe. Sumit nodded. Sell it all. We'll take what's fair. Jenny looked at her wedding ring. We built this place with love. Every corner holds a memory. Sumit smiled gently. Then we'll build new memories. Together. She laughed weakly. You burned the curry again. You said spicy. Not on fire, Sumit. Leaving home isn't about selling walls. It's about saying goodbye to the life you built inside them. That evening, a reporter appeared at their gate. Mr. Singh, Mrs. Slatton, is it true you're leaving India for good? No comment, Sumit said firmly. Is it because of the accusations? Jenny's voice broke. We're leaving for peace, not guilt. Inside, she whispered, I never thought love could feel this heavy. Sumit brushed her tears away. Love isn't heavy, Jenny. The world makes it so. She smiled faintly. You still sound like the man I fell for. And I still am, he said softly, just tired of proving it. When the sale was complete, the buyer shook Sumit's hand. Good luck, brother. Maybe Canada is where your story begins again. Jenny looked around their empty home. So many memories. Sumit nodded. And more to come. They stepped outside as the cafe door shut behind them. Jenny whispered, we fought the world for this love, and somehow we're still fighting. Sumit placed a photo into a box. If love were easy, it wouldn't be ours. Do you think we'll be happy there? She asked. Happiness isn't a place, he said gently. It's being together without fear. Jenny smiled through tears. Then we'll be happy. Sometimes, love survives not because it's perfect, but because two hearts refuse to give up when the world already has. Every goodbye carries a heartbeat, one last echo of what once was. As Jenny and Sumit signed the final papers, they weren't just leaving a home. They were burying years of pain beneath the hope of peace. Jenny looked at him softly. Once we land in Canada, no cameras, no interviews, no drama. Just us. Sumit nodded. Just us. They stepped into the sunlight hand in hand. As the moving truck rolled away behind them, the world had watched their love as entertainment. But behind the headlines was something real. Two hearts that had lost everything except each other. And sometimes, that's enough. Every decision comes with a price. And for Sumit Singh, the price of peace was his family. But before leaving it all behind, destiny had one final test. Sumit zipped the last suitcase and sighed. That's it. Jenny looked around their home. I still can't believe this is happening. After everything, we're actually leaving. Before he could answer, his phone buzzed. The caller ID froze him. It was Mom. Her voice was calm. Too calm. Sumit, I want to see you. One last time. Ma, please, not now, he said quietly. Now, she insisted. If you ever respected me, come. Jenny's eyes filled with worry. What did she say? She wants to see me, one last time. Do you think that's a good idea? She's still my mother, he replied. I have to go. Jenny took his hand. Then we go together. At the Singh home, the air was heavy. Sana sat stiffly on the couch. Anil stood by the window silent. Sit, Sana said coldly. So it's true, she began. You're leaving India. Yes, Sumit replied. We've made our decision. Her lips tightened. You're running away. Jenny took a steady breath. We're not running. We just want peace. Peace? Sana snapped. You destroyed peace the day you entered his life. Ma, stop, Sumit shouted. Enough. But she pressed on, her voice trembling. You think leaving will erase your shame? People will never forget what you did to us. I did nothing wrong, he said. I chose love. That isn't a sin. Tears glistened in her eyes. Love? What about duty? What about your parents? You owe us your life. I know, Ma, he said gently. But I can't sacrifice the woman I love just to keep you proud. Sana turned to Jenny, her voice sharp. Do you know what you've taken from me? My son used to visit, to laugh, to live. Since you came, he's a stranger. Jenny's voice broke. I never wanted to take him. I wanted to be part of your family. Then why didn't you leave when I begged you to? Because I love him, Jenny cried. Isn't that enough? Love fades, Sana said bitterly. Shame doesn't. Stop it, Sumit shouted. You're tearing us apart. Sana's tone dropped to a whisper, cold and final. If you walk out that door, don't come back. I'll consider you dead to me. The room went silent. Sumit closed his eyes, tears streaming down his face. If that's what you want, then goodbye, Ma. He turned to his father. Papa? Anil sighed. I don't agree with her, but I can't stop her. Just be happy, son. Sumit nodded, his voice trembling. I'll always love you both. Jenny looked at Sana, tears in her eyes. I never wanted to take your son, only to love him. But Sana turned away, her silence louder than words. Sumit took Jenny's hand. Together, they walked toward the door. Sometimes love demands silence, not because words fail, but because they no longer matter. As the door closed behind him, Sumit felt years of pain fall away. He wasn't just leaving a home. He was leaving his roots, his past, his mother's love. But beside him stood Jenny, the woman who had faced it all and still stayed. And that somehow was enough. I'm sorry it ended like this, Jenny whispered. Sumit shook his head softly. Maybe this is how it was meant to be. Sometimes you have to let go completely to start again. He looked back one last time. We came here fighting to prove our love. Now we're leaving knowing what it truly means. Jenny smiled through her tears. Are you ready? For the first time, he said yes. When love and family collide, there are no winners, only choices. And as Jenny and Sumit drove away from the life they once knew, they carried no bitterness, only a quiet hope that somewhere beyond the storm, peace was waiting for them. They had made their choice. To leave behind the noise, the pain, and the family that refused to understand. But even when the body moves forward, the heart often lingers behind. Jenny looked up from her suitcase. You haven't packed your things yet. Sumit didn't answer. His eyes were distant, lost somewhere between guilt and fear. Sumit, she said softly, walking closer. Talk to me. He sighed, finally setting the passport aside. I keep thinking about Ma. About how I just walked away. Jenny sat beside him, her hand gently resting on his shoulder. You didn't walk away, Sumit. You survived. You did what you had to do. Sumit shook his head. You don't understand. In India, a son leaving his mother like this, it's like dying twice. Once in her heart, and once in his own. Jenny's eyes softened. And what about me? I've been dying a little every day in this country trying to prove I belong. Her voice cracked as she continued. You fought for your family, Sumit. I fought for you. He looked at her, guilt flooding his expression. I know, and I'm grateful for everything you've done. I just can't stop feeling like I'm betraying someone. No matter what I choose. Even when bridges burn, hearts still whisper for reconciliation. And in that quiet space between pride and longing, regret begins to grow. Jenny appears at the doorway. Are you calling her? Sumit hesitates. I just want to hear her voice once more. Jenny's tone softens. And what if she doesn't answer? He smiles sadly. Then at least I tried. He presses call. The phone rings once, twice, 3 times. Then stops. No answer. Sumit lowers the phone, his expression hollow. She blocked me. Jenny steps forward and hugs him tightly. Then let her go, Sumit. You can't heal if you keep reopening the wound. Consultant. Everything's approved. Your permanent residency paperwork is in order, and your flight to Toronto is confirmed for next week. Jenny smiles faintly. Thank you so much. Sumit forces a polite nod, but his eyes are distant. Outside the office, Jenny notices his silence. You should be happy, Sumit. We're finally leaving all this behind. He exhales slowly. It doesn't feel like happiness yet. It feels like an ending. Jenny turns to him. That's because it is an ending, but it's also the start of something new. He gives a small nod but doesn't respond. He gets up quietly and walks to the window, gazing out at the moonlit cityscape. His reflection stares back, the face of a man torn between love and loyalty. Every decision that brings peace to one heart often breaks another. And for Sumit Singh, peace had never felt so heavy. The next morning, Jenny finds him on the balcony again, sipping tea. Did you sleep at all? Not really, he admits. I kept thinking about the last time I saw Ma. The way she looked at me, like I was a stranger. That image won't leave me. Jenny sits beside him. I know it hurts, but remember what she said to you, that you're no longer her son. You can't keep chasing love from someone who's decided to stop giving it. Sumit stares into his cup. She's still my mother, Jenny. I can't hate her, no matter what she's done. Jenny nods gently. You don't have to hate her, but you have to choose yourself this time. Choose us. Her voice trembles slightly as she continues. I've stood beside you through humiliation, through gossip, through every lie they've told about me. I never asked you to choose me over your family, but now, I need to know you will. Sumit looks at her with tears in his eyes. I already did, Jenny. The moment I said yes to leaving India, I chose you. She reaches for his hand, squeezing it. Then hold on to that. The image fades back to the present, Sumit wiping away tears as Jenny packs the final suitcase. The hardest part of moving forward isn't letting go of the past. It's learning to live with what it left behind. Agent, once you sign here, the house officially belongs to the buyer. Funds will be transferred to your Canadian account within 48 hours. Sumit hesitates before signing. It feels strange, he murmurs, like I'm erasing everything that ever happened here. Jenny places a hand over his. You're not erasing it, Sumit. You're setting it free. He smiles faintly and signs the papers. Jenny lights a small candle near the window, whispering a quiet prayer. For peace, for strength, for a new start. Sumit joins her, holding her hand. Together, they watch the candle flicker, a tiny flame in a world that had tried to extinguish them. Love is not about escaping the world. It's about finding the courage to rebuild it, together. And though Sumit's heart still ached for the family he left behind, a deeper truth began to settle in his soul. That the woman beside him was not the cause of his pain. She was the reason he could endure it. Sumit, next week, we'll wake up somewhere new. Jenny, somewhere we can finally breathe. He smiles faintly. Together. As the night deepened, so did their resolve. The road ahead was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Love had survived the fire, and now it was ready to rise again. Some journeys begin with excitement. Others begin with heartbreak. For Jenny Slatten and Sumit Singh, leaving India was not just a relocation. It was a farewell to everything they had once fought for. Jenny folds the last of her clothes, carefully placing them in the suitcase. Her eyes linger on a small photo frame. Their wedding picture taken on the day they vowed to stay together, no matter what. Sumit stands behind her, watching quietly. Do you want to keep that? She smiles faintly. Of course. It's the only promise that still feels real. He nods, then looks around the room. The walls are bare, the shelves empty. It doesn't even feel like our home anymore. Jenny turns to him, her voice soft. Maybe that's because it isn't. Homes aren't walls, Sumit. They're people, and we still have each other. He smiles, but his eyes betray the sadness he carries. They sit on the floor, sharing a simple dinner, dal and rice. It's the same meal they had on their first night living together. Jenny laughs softly. Remember the first time I tried to cook this? You said it tasted like dish soap. Sumit chuckles. It did, but you kept trying. That's what I love about you. You never gave up on us. Her smile fades slightly. And you never stop believing in me, even when everyone else did. They fall silent, the weight of memories filling the space between them. We're leaving tomorrow, Mel. I wish things could have ended differently. I'll always love you. He presses send, then sets the phone down. Jenny watches him quietly. Did you tell her? He nods. Yes, but I don't expect a reply. She reaches for his hand. You did what you could, Sumit. Sometimes, that has to be enough. He opens it slowly. Inside is a folded letter. His eyes widen as he begins to read aloud. Sumit, you may hate me for what I've done. Maybe I deserve that. But you are still my son. I couldn't accept your choices, but I never stopped loving you. Wherever you go, remember, your roots will always be here. Mom. Sumit's voice cracks. She wrote this today. She must have sent someone to drop it off. Jenny's eyes fill with tears. At least she said what you needed to hear. He nods, folding the letter carefully. It's more than I expected. Maybe she'll find peace too. Every mile they traveled took them farther from the pain, but also from the memories that had shaped their love. As the airport gates came into view, the silence between them grew heavier. Jenny whispered, I never thought I'd say goodbye to India like this. Sumit looked at her. Neither did I. But maybe this is how we finally start living. Not for others, but for ourselves. Jenny looks around one last time. The bustling crowd, the scent of chai from a nearby stall, the sound of Hindi chatter. It feels strange. I used to be a visitor here. Then it became home. Sumit smiles softly. And now we're both visitors again. But maybe that's what freedom is. Not belonging to one place, but to each other. Their flight number is called. They step forward together, hands clasped tightly. At the immigration counter, the officer stamps their passports. Permanent move? He asks. Sumit answers firmly. Yes, a new beginning. Jenny whispers, goodbye, India. Sumit adds softly, goodbye, Mom. They turn and walk toward the boarding gate. The light ahead grows brighter as their silhouettes fade into it. In that single moment, between departure and arrival, they carried two worlds in their hearts. One built from pain, and another waiting to be built from peace. Jenny, are you okay? Sumit, I don't know. It feels like we're leaving part of ourselves behind. Jenny smiles faintly. Maybe we are. But maybe that's how healing starts, by letting go of the weight that kept us grounded. He takes her hand. Then I guess it's time to fly. They had been judged, ridiculed, misunderstood, but never defeated. Because real love doesn't end where the world disapproves. It begins where two souls decide to keep walking, no matter how heavy the road. Jenny, Sumit? Sumit, yes. Jenny, promise me one thing. No matter what happens next, we never look back. He smiles, squeezing her hand. I promise. Some promises are made at weddings. Others are made in silence, above the clouds, between two hearts that have finally found their freedom. And as the sky opened before them, Jenny Slatten and Sumit Singh were no longer just the couple from 90 Day Fiancé. They were something far more powerful. Two souls who had chosen love over legacy and peace over pride. Every ending comes disguised as a new beginning. But to reach the new, Jenny Slatten and Sumit Singh had to strip away every last piece of the life they once built. The furniture was gone. The walls, once filled with laughter and photos, were bare. All that remained was the echo of their voices and the faint scent of the incense Jenny always lit in the mornings. Sumit stood in the doorway, watching two men carry away their sofa. Jenny leaned against the wall, arms crossed, silent. He turned to her gently. You okay? She smiled faintly. It's funny. We bought that sofa together, arguing for an hour over the color. Now, it's just gone. Sumit walked closer, taking her hand. It's just a sofa, Jenny. She looked up at him, her voice soft. I know, but somehow, it feels like we're selling the memories too. Agent, so, this is it. The last inspection before transfer. Jenny tries to smile. We're ready. The buyers walk through, murmuring politely, admiring the kitchen and balcony. Sumit listens, detached, as if the words were happening in another room, another life. When they leave, the agent hands them an envelope. Once you sign this, the property's officially sold. You'll receive the funds by evening. Jenny takes the pen and signs slowly, her hand trembling slightly. Sumit signs next. As the pen leaves the paper, Jenny exhales. That's it, then. Sumit nods. We're free. But neither of them smiles. Jenny opens a drawer in the kitchen and finds a small stack of old notes, grocery lists, recipes she'd written down in her early days in India. She runs her fingers over them. Remember when I couldn't even find sugar in the market? She laughs softly. Sumit smiles. You bought salt instead and made the worst tea ever. She grins. You still drank it. I was trying to impress you, he replies with a small laugh. They both fall silent again. When love builds a home, every corner becomes a memory. But when you leave that home behind, memories become ghosts. Kind, painful ghosts that refuse to let go. Employee. The $2 million will be transferred to your Canadian account within 24 hours. Congratulations, Mr. and Mrs. Singh. Jenny exchanges a glance with Sumit. The number sounds big, but the moment feels small, hollow, almost surreal. Outside the bank, Jenny says quietly, we have money now, but it doesn't feel like we gained anything. Sumit nods. Because we didn't. We just stopped losing. Jenny, do you think they'll ever forgive us? Sumit, maybe. One day. Or maybe they'll just forget. Jenny's voice breaks slightly. You'd be okay with that? He looks at her for a long moment. If forgetting means peace, then yes. She nods slowly. Then maybe that's our peace too. Jenny takes one last walk through the house. The balcony, the kitchen, the little bedroom they painted together. She runs her hand along the wall and whispers, thank you. Sumit watches her silently from the door. When she turns back, he smiles gently. Ready? She hesitates. You first. He nods, steps outside, and turns to take one final look. Then he locks the door, slides the key into the agent's envelope, and hands it over. The sound of the key dropping echoes faintly, a simple final sound. And just like that, it was done. No more arguments, no more rumors. Just two souls who traded everything they owned for something far more fragile, the hope of peace. Jenny shivers. It's freezing. Sumit laughs softly. You wanted a fresh start. Canada's giving you a very fresh welcome. She laughs despite herself. Yeah, I didn't mean this fresh. They walk through the airport terminal, eyes wide with a mix of wonder and disbelief. Sumit stops for a moment, watching people hurry past. No stares, no whispers, no judgments. Just strangers, busy with their own lives. He turns to Jenny. Do you feel that? Jenny looks around. What? He smiles. Silence. Peace. She nods, tears forming in her eyes. It feels unreal. Jenny sets it on a shelf and says softly, we may have lost everything, but we still have this. Sumit wraps his arm around her, and we'll build the rest again, from the ground up. In a foreign land, far from family and fame, they finally found what they'd been searching for all along. Not comfort, not wealth, but peace. The past still lingered in their hearts, but for the first time, the future felt possible. Jenny whispers, this is home now. Sumit smiles. Home isn't a place, Jenny. It's wherever we start again. She leans into him. Then I guess we're finally home. They had sold everything, but in return, they had bought freedom. And though their hearts still carried the ache of separation, they had found something rare in this world, a love that had survived both time and pain. Home was thousands of miles behind them. Yet India, with all its colors, chaos and heartbreak, still lingered softly in their hearts. Before Jenny and Sumit could truly move on, they had one last goodbye to make. Jenny looked up from her laptop. Sumit, can you read this? He turned. What is it? Our farewell post, she said quietly. For the show, for everyone who's followed our story. The screen glowed with her words. After years of love, struggle and learning, we've decided to step away from the public eye. Our journey on 90-Day Fiancé was real, but now We choose peace over fame. India will always be our first home, but Canada is where we begin again. Sumit smiled. It's honest. Beautiful. Jenny hesitated. Do you think people will understand? Some will, he said softly. Some won't, but we know our truth. She clicked post. Kind messages appeared, wishing them peace and happiness. They deserve a fresh start. But others were cruel. They gave up too easily. Sumit abandoned his family for money. Jenny sighed. People see what they want to see. Sumit nodded. That's why we had to leave. We were living for them, not for ourselves. For years, their love had been dissected by strangers, their flaws magnified, their devotion questioned. But behind the cameras were two souls simply trying to be understood. Jenny's voice trembled as she spoke. I don't regret anything. Not India, not your family, not the pain. It made us who we are. Sumit smiled gently. We survived it all. Jenny laughed through tears. We were so naive. Yeah, he chuckled. I was terrified to tell my parents about you. And I was scared you'd leave me. He touched her hand. I almost did. Until I realized love isn't supposed to make sense. It's supposed to make you brave. Jenny smiled. Then we've been brave for a very long time. She picked up an old letter. Will you keep it? Yes, Sumit said quietly. It's the last piece of her I have. He placed it in a box filled with photos and small keepsakes, fragments of a life left behind. Maybe someday she'll call you, Jenny whispered. Maybe someday she'll forgive me, he replied. Later, they sat on a snowy park bench, watching children laugh nearby. It's so quiet here, Jenny said. Peace feels strange after years of fighting. Sumit smiled faintly. Strange, but good. She nodded. Do you ever wonder what life would have been if we'd stayed? He sighed. Maybe we'd still be arguing. Or maybe we'd have lost each other. Jenny's eyes softened. Then we made the right choice. Their post soon flooded with messages, not gossip, but gratitude. Thank you for showing what real love looks like. You taught us peace is worth fighting for. Jenny smiled. Maybe they do understand. Sumit wrapped an arm around her. They finally see what we always knew. India was behind them, but its rhythm still pulsed in their souls. They had sent their farewells, not in anger, but in gratitude. Because even pain is sacred when it teaches you to love without fear. And as snow fell softly around them, Jenny and Sumit finally understood. They hadn't escaped India. They had carried its lessons within them, to a place where love no longer needed defending. Every love story has a destination, but not every destination feels like home. For Jenny Slatten and Sumit Singh, this wasn't just a flight. It was a passage between two worlds, one they'd lost, and one they were still learning to trust. Jenny stirred in her seat and glanced at Sumit, who sat gazing out the window, eyes reflecting the soft glow of dawn. You haven't slept at all, she whispered. He smiled faintly. I'm afraid if I close my eyes, I'll wake up back in India. Jenny touched his arm gently. That's not fear, Sumit. That's your heart catching up to reality. He chuckled softly. You make everything sound so easy. She smiled. Trust me, I'm just as scared as you. Their hands met between the seats, the steady hum of the engine like a heartbeat. Somewhere ahead was their new world, a place with no whispers, no judgment, just peace. Ladies and gentlemen, the flight attendant announced, we're now landing in Toronto. Jenny looked out the window, breath fogging the glass. It's beautiful. Sumit nodded. Cold, but beautiful. They both laughed, the sound warm and real. At immigration, the officer stamped their passports. Welcome to Canada. Jenny exhaled deeply. We made it. Sumit smiled. We really did. Outside, the icy wind greeted them. Jenny shivered. It's freezing. Sumit laughed. You wanted a fresh start. Canada's giving you one. A cab driver loaded their bags. First time here? Jenny nodded. Yes, first day of the rest of our lives. The driver grinned. Then welcome home. Snowflakes swirled in the morning light as their car disappeared into the city. Their new apartment was small, quiet, and empty. Jenny looked around, smiling. It's perfect. Sumit smirked. It's empty. Exactly, she said. A blank canvas. They sat on the floor together, the hum of the city below. Jenny sighed. It's so quiet. I almost miss the chaos of India. Chaos becomes comfort when it's all you've known, Sumit replied softly. She nodded. Still, this piece feels right. He reached for her hand. We've earned it. For the first time in years, their love didn't need defending. No cameras, no headlines, no noise. Just the two of them. Jenny asked quietly, Do you ever think about your mom? Sumit nodded. Every day. I miss her. But maybe distance is the only way for us to heal. Maybe she'll come around one day, Jenny whispered. He smiled faintly. Maybe she already has. She wrote that letter, didn't she? Jenny leaned her head on his shoulder. Then that's enough. Their journey wasn't about perfection. It was about perseverance. They had left behind judgment to find understanding, anger to find forgiveness, and a country of noise to discover the silence love deserves. The world had watched them fall, fight, and rise again. But here, in a quiet apartment above the frozen city, there were no scripts, only truth. And sometimes, truth is the most beautiful kind of freedom there is. In India, Jenny and Sumit lived under cameras, whispers, and constant judgment. In Canada, they woke to something entirely new, silence. No nights, no producers, no scripts. Just two people trying to remember who they were before the world began watching. Jenny smiled sleepily. No cameras outside. That's a first. Sumit chuckled. And no interviews waiting either. She sipped her tea. I don't miss it. He looked out the window. Me neither. Though sometimes I wonder who we are without it. Without the show? She asked. He nodded. For so long, our love was a storyline. People knew our faces, but not our hearts. Now that it's over, it feels like starting from zero. Jenny smiled gently. Then let's start together. Later, he sighed, staring at their grocery bill. Why is everything in dollars but feels twice as expensive? Welcome to Canada, honey, she teased. At least no one's staring or whispering anymore, he said. Jenny nodded. Strange, but peaceful. In India, they had been watched. In Canada, they were invisible, and that invisibility felt like freedom. At a job center, an advisor smiled. So, Mr. Singh, you worked in television? Sumit grinned. Sort of. My life was on TV. The advisor laughed, thinking it a joke. We'll find something in customer service or media. Outside, Jenny nudged him. You should have told her you're famous. Not here, he said softly. And honestly, I like that. At a cafe, a barista encouraged Jenny. You'll sound Canadian soon. Jenny laughed. Not with my accent. She waved at Sumit waiting outside with groceries, smiling back at her. Starting over wasn't easy. No family, no friends, no spotlight. But they had each other, and that was enough. Who'd have thought we'd live such a quiet life? Jenny asked. You mean boring? Sumit teased. She laughed. Exactly. Boring is beautiful. He leaned back. Maybe that's real freedom, not proving anything to anyone. Not to your parents, not to the world, just to ourselves, she said softly. Sumit sighed. I still think about what we left behind. India hurt, but it was home. Jenny smiled. Home isn't a place. It's where you feel safe. And for the first time, I do. Even here, where we barely know anyone. He asked. Because I'm with you, she said gently. That's enough? He smiled warmly. You're stronger than me, Jenny. She laughed. Took you this long to notice? As dinner simmered on the stove, Sumit tasted it and grinned. You're getting better. Jenny winked. That's Canada's secret ingredient. Peace. For the first time, life wasn't a battle. It was ordinary. And in that ordinariness, they found beauty. No gossip, no cameras, just love, laughter, and quiet mornings. Do you ever miss being on TV? Jenny asked. Sometimes, Sumit admitted, but only because it reminds me how far we've come. Jenny smiled. Maybe our story isn't ending, it's just going offline. Sumit nodded, taking her hand. The best chapters are the ones no one sees. And so, their new life began. Far from the lights, beyond the noise, and outside the reach of judgment. For Jenny and Sumit, the truest kind of love was never meant for headlines. It lived here, in the silence, the smiles, and the simple promise of forever. Months had passed since they left India. The snow had melted, the cold had softened, and the noise of their past had faded into memory. For Jenny and Sumit, Canada wasn't just a new country, it was a second chance. Jenny stretched and smiled. Can you believe it's been 6 months already? Sumit nodded. Feels like yesterday, but also like a lifetime ago. She laughed. A lifetime without drama? I'll take it. You don't miss being the center of gossip, he teased. Jenny grinned. No, I like being invisible. It's peaceful. He smiled softly. Maybe this is what we were meant for, to start over quietly. Jenny leaned on his shoulder. We didn't disappear, Sumit. We just finally became ourselves. At the farmer's market, a vendor smiled. You're new here? Jenny nodded. We moved from India. Welcome, the vendor said warmly. You picked a good place to start again. Jenny's eyes softened. We think so too. For the first time, they weren't the couple from TV. They were simply Jenny and Sumit, two people living life at their own pace. Over coffee, a local woman named Margaret smiled. I looked you up. You were on TV, weren't you? Jenny laughed nervously. Not again. Sumit chuckled. Yes, a long time ago. Margaret nodded kindly. You two went through a lot, didn't you? Jenny's voice softened. More than we imagined. But look at you now, Margaret said, still smiling. That's what matters. Jenny smiled back. We learned happiness isn't won, it's built. Margaret smiled. And you built it beautifully. Later, at a community kitchen, a volunteer grinned. Sumit, this smells amazing. He laughed. It's the taste of home, even if home is far away. Jenny entered with trays of samosas. He's finally sharing his secret recipes. Sumit winked. No secrets anymore, just love and good food. From fame to simplicity, from cameras to community, they had traded recognition for belonging. One evening, Jenny called out, Sumit, come look at this. She showed him a message from a woman in Ohio. Your story gave me courage to marry someone my family didn't accept. We're happy now. Thank you for showing love is worth the risk. Jenny's eyes glistened. They still remember us, and we helped them. Sumit smiled. Then maybe our story didn't end when the camera stopped. It just changed direction. Jenny nodded. Let's reply. Not as celebrities, just as people who understand. They sat side by side, typing heartfelt replies. Jenny said softly, I used to think our story was about proving love, but it's not, is it? Sumit shook his head. No, it's about finding peace after the fight, learning that love doesn't need witnesses. Jenny smiled. Then let's promise. No more defending, no more explaining, just living. He smiled. Deal. They sealed it with a laugh and a kiss as golden leaves drifted outside. Sumit whispered, You're happy, aren't you? Jenny nodded. Happier than I've ever been. He wrapped his arms around her. So am I. Happiness didn't come from proving the world wrong. It came from quiet mornings, warm chai, and knowing their love had survived everything meant to break it. They had left the spotlight behind, but the light within them burned brighter than ever. Jenny Slatten and Sumit Singh, once a story of controversy, had become something far more enduring. A story of love reborn, peace reclaimed, and two hearts that finally found their forever. Sumit handed Jenny 2 steaming cups of masala chai. Smell that? Cardamom, ginger, cinnamon. Feels like home. Jenny smiled, inhaling deeply. It really does. They wandered hand in hand through the festival, stalls glittering with jewelry, curtains, and sweets, Bollywood songs drifting softly in the air, laughter, colors, and music wrapped around them like warmth itself. I forgot how much I missed this, Jenny said, watching children dance. You never really left India, Sumit replied gently. You carried it with you. She looked at him tenderly. And you brought me here, to a version of home that doesn't hurt anymore. You two look like you belong here, a vendor said with a smile. Sumit laughed. We used to, in another life. Jenny admired a gold-threaded scarf. It's beautiful. The woman nodded knowingly. So is your story, Beta. I remember you from TV. Jenny blinked, surprised. You recognize us? Of course, the woman chuckled. But don't worry, I'm not here for gossip. You chose peace. That's rare. Sumit bowed slightly. Thank you, Auntie. That means a lot. She smiled kindly. When two souls find each other, the world will always have opinions. Love doesn't need permission, only patience. Jenny's eyes shimmered as she wrapped the scarf around her shoulders. That's beautiful. Sometimes, wisdom comes from strangers, the kind who remind you that even in exile, love can still belong. Later, Sumit paused outside a small temple. You don't have to come in if you're not comfortable. Jenny shook her head. I want to. Inside, the faint scent of incense filled the air. Lamps flickered softly. Jenny watched as Sumit pressed his palms together in prayer. Unsure at first, she mirrored him. When they finished, she whispered, What did you pray for? Forgiveness, he said softly. For what? For everything. The pain. The words we can't take back. The people we lost. Jenny nodded. Then I'll pray for peace, for all of us. Sumit smiled. Maybe that's the same thing. Do you think your mother will ever forgive us? Jenny asked quietly. He sighed. Maybe not today, maybe not in this lifetime. But forgiveness isn't about waiting. It's about living without bitterness. Then maybe we already have it, she said gently. They walked in silence beneath the city lights. Forgiveness doesn't always come as words. Sometimes it's a feeling, soft and weightless, that whispers the storm is finally over. Jenny smiled faintly. If someone told me years ago we'd end up here, drinking chai in Canada, free and at peace, I would have laughed. Sumit chuckled. Back then, peace felt like a fairy tale. She turned to him. But now it's real. We earned it. He nodded. Every tear, every fight, every goodbye. They all led us here. Do you ever think we'll go back to India? She asked. One day, he said. Not to live, just to show that love didn't fail. It just moved forward. Jenny smiled softly. And maybe then, we'll visit your family. Without anger, without pain. He placed his hand over hers. One day, Jenny, when hearts are ready, she laughed suddenly. You've come a long way. Remember when you burned everything you cooked? He grinned. And you used to jump every time the oil sizzled. Their laughter filled the room like sunlight. Sometimes closure isn't found in words or apologies. It's in laughter that finally sounds free, in love that no longer has to fight, and in mornings that begin without fear. Their story began with defiance. It grew through struggle, and it ended, not in tragedy, but in peace. Jenny Slatten and Sumit Singh had proven something timeless. That true love doesn't need to win every battle. It only needs to endure long enough to find peace. And in a quiet corner of a distant country, two hearts finally did. Not perfection, not approval, but peace. Their story began in a world that doubted them. A story of whispers, judgment, and heartbreak, where love had to fight just to exist. But love, when it's real, doesn't need permission. It only needs courage. Jenny Slatten and Sumit Singh taught the world that love doesn't have an age, a border, or a definition. It simply is, imperfect, defiant, and everlasting. From New Delhi's crowded streets to Toronto's quiet winters, they carried the same belief that kept them together through every storm. That peace is worth more than pride, and that love, once chosen, must never be abandoned. They gave up fame for freedom, replaced noise with silence, and found meaning not in being seen, but in being understood. They learned that closure doesn't always come from others. Sometimes, it's found in the quiet acceptance of who you've become. Jenny and Sumit didn't escape the past. they transformed it into strength. And in doing so, they gave the world a story not about fame, but about faith. No more today. What are you thinking about this gossip today? Let us know in the comments, and stay tuned by subscribing to our channel to get more updates like this. Thank you.